Hey everyone, Sean Watasa here, back with another video tutorial, and in today's tutorial we're going to be building our very own Web3 version of a Cash App like application. And what we're doing with this application is we're going to utilize account abstraction to customize our own smart contract wallets, where instead of sending funds from a wallet address to a wallet address, we can utilize something like a username instead. So instead of trying to figure out someone's wallet address to send them funds, we can type in their username. So an overview of what we're going to do in this video, we're first going to take a look at a demo of the application. We'll run through it. I'll show you some of the features and we'll go over some of the things that are happening behind the scene. Then we'll create our very own custom account factory and account smart contracts, which we'll need to customize to allow things like registering a username to a wallet. Then we'll jump into our code editor and we'll build out our application. So with all of that being said, let's jump on the computer here and let's take a look at a demo of the app that we're going to be building. So right here on my computer, I have my Web3 Cash App like application here. This is our sign-in screen. So we're actually going to be utilizing embedded wallet and we're going to build our very own email sign-in screen here. So right over here, let's test this out. I can sign in with my email, and once I type in my email here, we'll hit sign in. We'll get an OTP here sent to our email. So I'll just wait for this to come in. There we go. Put this in and we'll verify that OTP. And what this will do is sign us in to our account, and it's going to check for our account. You can see here that I already have an account registered under the username here, which is my last name, Watase. And we already have a balance and everything here of 0.05 Matic within this account. Now I could sign out, which would disconnect my wallet from this. But what I'm going to do here is actually just open up another browser and we're going to sign in with an email that doesn't have an account associated with it. So I'm going to do Sean plus, and then we're going to do test@thirdweb.com. So this is going to create us a new account. Let's get that OTP again. We'll verify that. And what happens when you sign into an account that doesn't have a username registered to it is it'll actually have you register that username that you want. So you can see here, we don't have a username registered with our account, and we need to create a username in order to start. Now, if I type in Watase, which was the username of my other account, and I try to register that, you can see here that the username is already taken, so we won't be able to use that username. So I'll just put Watase and I'll put 001 behind it and we'll register that username. So you can see here, it is registering the username, which is using, again, our custom account factory contracts and registering this username that we chose to the wallet address or the smart wallet address of this account. So you can see here, username is registered. I'll hit OK. And it signs us in. So now we are signed into this Watase 001, and I'm actually going to copy that. You can see here the balance of this is 0 Matic because we just created this new account here. And I'm going to come back to my other account, and what we're going to do here is actually send funds. So what I'm going to do here is put in the username of the person I want to send it to, which is that new account, and we'll just send 0.01 Matic. So what we'll do is hit send funds. And with this, we have set up, again, we're utilizing smart contract wallets and we have gasless features enabled. So the users won't have to send or pay for gas. They're just going to be sending the amount. So in this case, we're just sending the 0.01 Matic, and we're going to be handling the gas all through thirdweb smart wallets. So you can see here, funds were sent. We'll hit OK. We'll just close this. You can see here, now in this wallet, I have 0.04 Matic. We'll head back on over to our other browser, and you can see here it got updated with 0.01 Matic, which was the Matic that we just sent over here. So again, this is a demo of what we're going to be building. We're going to be building our own custom smart contracts for our smart contract wallets, which allow us to register a username to the wallet address that is created. And then we'll build out this application right over here. So I have my terminal open here, and the first thing we're going to do is create our own custom smart contract wallets. So I'm going to run npx thirdweb, and we're going to do create contract, and we're going to create our own contracts here. We're not going to upgrade our CLI here, and we're just going to give our project a name here, and we'll call this our username custom contracts. And we're going to use hard hat for this, and the name of our contract, we'll just name our first one our username account factory. And we're going to select empty contract for here. If you were creating your own contracts, you could select, to utilize our ERC 721, 20, or 1155. But we're going to start with an empty contract here. And this is going to create our project for us. And once that's done, we'll change into our user name custom contracts. And we'll open this up in our code editor. And again, what we're going to be doing here is building our own custom account factory contracts. Now, if you don't know what account factory contracts are, essentially this is a factory contract that can generate and create smart contract wallets or accounts for our users. And we're going to be customizing both of these contracts. So the account factory contract is, again, the factory that deploys the smart contract wallets or accounts. And then we have the smart contract account, which is going to be the actual smart contract wallet. Now, under our contracts here, we have this contract.so. We're going to rename this. This should have been our user name account factory. We'll create another file within this as well, and this one will be called our user name account.so. And we'll come to our username account factory here. And the first thing we're going to do here is we'll name this our username account factory. And we'll come here. Actually, we'll just copy this. We'll come here, paste that. And then this one will be our username account. So save these. And we're going to start off in our username account contract here. And in our username account contract, we're going to import a couple things. So we're going to import our username account factory, which was our account factory contract here. And we're going to import the account, the base account contract from thirdweb. So we'll add those. And next thing we'll do, we'll take a look at our docs here on thirdweb. And we can see right here, we are in the Solidity docs for thirdweb under the account factory here. And it shows us how we can utilize and use the account factory. So with account factory, we just have to, again, import the account factory. Oh, this is account factory, sorry. Account. So we're going under the account first. You can see here, we just need to import the account contract from thirdweb. And if we scroll down here, you can see the one thing we need to give it is the constructor here, which we can just copy this, come back to our code editor, and we'll take out this constructor here and paste in the constructor that we got from the docs. And if we take a look back at the docs as well, you can see that when we create this account, we have to make sure that it is and inherits the account factory here. So we have to put is account. So we'll come here and we'll say is account. And really the only thing that we're going to add to this account contract is a function. And this function is going to be a register function that we're going to call to register the username to this wallet address or this smart contract wallet. And what this register function is going to take is a string, which will be the call data, and we'll give it the username that we are going to register it to. This will be an external function. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to require that the MSG, so the message sender, is equal to this wallet address. So only the account can call its register function. No one else can call the register function for this account. So we'll just make it this address here. And if it isn't, we'll just say only the account itself can register itself. So we'll finish off this function in just a bit, but we're going to now set up our username account factory. So for our username account factory, we're going to import the base account factory contract from thirdweb, as well as our username account, which is the other contract that we created here. And we're going to make sure that we make this contract is of a base account factory. Then we're going to add our constructor here, which is going to take our base account factory, and we're going to be able to create a new username account. And we'll add in our constructor and our initialize account here. Now, the next thing we're going to do up here is add a few things. We're going to add an event for when a username is registered. So this event will be called register username, and it will emit an event that shows the username that was registered along with the wallet address or the smart contract wallet that it was registered to. We'll have a mapping for a string, so the username to the address that it's associated with. So that will be called the account of the username. So the account meaning the wallet. We'll also have a mapping for the wallet address to the username. So in case we want to pull the username of the wallet account. We'll also have a mapping for if a wallet address or an account has a username or not. And finally, we're going to create a function here called onRegistered, which will again take the username here. We'll set the address or the account to the sender of the message. And we're going to require that the account that is registering a username is an account of this account factory contract. So essentially, we're going to make sure that the account or wallet calling this onRegister function to register a username is deployed through this account factory contract. Next thing we're going to do is make sure that the account that is registering a username doesn't already have a username registered to it. And if they do, then we're just going to say you already have a registered username and you won't be able to register one. So if they are a smart contract account from this account factory and they don't have a username registered, we'll then register the username that the user chose to the account that of their smart contract wallet. And then we'll do the same thing for of the username. We'll set the username to the wallet that they have, and we'll set that they have a username to true. And once all that's done, we'll emit the register username event with the username and the wallet account. So now coming back to our username account here, on this register function, we are going to get our username account factory and we are going to register our username using the onRegistered function that we created. So again, these are our custom account factory contracts that we're going to be creating. Our account or smart contract wallets that get generated basically have this new register function that will register a username that they submit to their smart contract wallet. And then within our username account factory, we have some events and some mappings here that will associate that username to the wallet address that is generated, and a mapping letting us know if the user has a wallet address or not. And we created that onRegister function to again check to make sure that the wallet is of this account factory and that they don't already have a username registered, and we will then register them a username. So now that we have all of that finished, we can now deploy these contracts. So I'll open up my terminal here. I'll run npx thirdweb deploy. It'll detect our project here. It'll compile it. We're going to select both our projects to deploy here. So I'm going to hit space on username account and on username account factory, then hit enter. This should open up a browser window with the contracts to deploy. And if it doesn't, you can always come back here and you can take this link, which will lead you to the same thing. But coming back here, all we need to do is deploy our username account factory contract. So we'll click on that. For the entry point, it is the same entry point contract that you would use for any account abstraction. And we'll drop this down in the description below if you need to just copy it here. Then we're going to select the chain. First, let's connect our wallet. We'll select the chain or network we want to deploy to. For this case, in this tutorial, I'm going to deploy to the Mumbai network. You can select any mainnet or testnet. We support any EVM compatible blockchain, so you can select or search for those. Again, I'm going to be using Mumbai. Then I'm going to select deploy now. We'll get a transaction that comes up. We'll confirm that to deploy our account factory contract. We'll then sign the signature request here to add it to our thirdweb dashboard. And there we are. We have our username account factory contract deployed. I'm going to copy that contract address because we'll need it later on within our app. Now that we have that, let's build out our Web3 Cash App. So I'm going to open up my terminal again. I'm going to exit out of here. I'm going to run npx thirdweb create app. We're going to name our project here. I'll just call this Web3, we'll just see C app for Cash App. We'll use Next.js and TypeScript for this project. And once that's done, we'll just change into our Web3, into our project, and we'll open this up in our code editor. Now with our project open up, let's head on over to the pages folder and the _app.tsx file. And we're going to set up our third web provider here. The first thing we need to do is set up our client ID, which is being stored under this variable here in a .env file. So if we come back over here to our file directory and we come to this .env.example, you can see here we need to give it our client ID. Now our client ID is a third web API key, and if we come back to the third web dashboard here and we go to the settings tab, I'm just going to open up a new tab here. You'll have your API keys. You can create a new API key here. The only thing that we're going to need enabled for this application is going to be smart wallets and embedded wallets. So those are some things that we're going to be utilizing. But if you want to follow along and learn a little bit more about third web API keys, we'll drop a link down in the description below, along with a tutorial video and documentation you can follow. I'm going to copy my API key here, or my client ID. I'm going to come back here and paste it into here. I'm also going to rename this file here and just get rid of the .example, so I only have a .env. So I'll come back to my _app.tsx file. That is the client ID. Next, we need to set the active chain. So for active chain, we have a variable up here under active chain. By default, it's set to Ethereum. We're going to change this to the network or chain that you deployed your contract to. And in this case, I deployed my contract to Mumbai. So I'm going to make sure that I put Mumbai in here, but you'll select and put in the chain or network that you deployed your contract to. So that there does it for us setting up our application. If we actually open up our terminal here and run a yarn dev, we'll open this up in our localhost 3001, and you should see thirdweb's templated project here with a connect wallet button where you can connect your wallets and everything. Now we're not going to be utilizing the connect wallet button here. We're going to just set up an email login so someone can log in with email, and we're going to be using thirdweb's embedded wallet with that. So to set up our embedded wallet along with smart wallet, and the reason we're going to be setting up smart wallets with embedded wallets is one, embedded wallets allows us to sign in with just an email and it'll create a wallet for us. But we're also going to be using smart wallets because with account abstraction, we can enable gasless functionality. So again, we can pay for the transfer fee needed or the gas needed for the user, and the user won't have to worry about all those extra fees and funds. So I'm gonna come back to my code editor here, and we're gonna set up smart wallets with embedded wallets. And the first thing we're gonna do here is create a variable, and we're gonna call this smart wallet config. And this smart wallet config, we need to give it our factory address. And we need to specify that we want to enable gasless. So we'll set gasless here to true. Now we're going to get our factory address from our custom account factory. Let me just grab that here really quick. And I'm going to paste that into here. Next thing we need to do is under our third web provider, we're going to add our supported wallets here and give it an array of the wallets we want to support in our application. In this case, we want to just use smart wallets, and smart wallets is going to take our wallet here, which is going to be what type of personal wallet or EOA wallet do we want to set for the smart wallet. And in this case, we want to set an embedded wallet. And then we need to provide it our configs, which will be the smart wallet configs that we set up here. And just like that, we now have smart wallets with embedded wallets enabled in our application. Now I'm going to come into my file directory. Under the pages folder, I'm going to go to the index.tsx file. This is the templated code here that you get with thirdweb. I'm going to remove everything within this div with the styles of container. I'm just going to highlight all of this and remove that out. I'm going to get rid of this image import here, and we're going to get rid of the connect wallet because again, we're not going to use that here in this application. So now if we take a look at our original demo here, let me sign out. The first thing we have to do is create this email sign-in where a user will sign in with their email. They can verify with a one-time password, and then they can generate the smart wallet with the embedded wallet to our app. So we're going to build out this component first here. I'm going to come over here back to my project. I'm going to come to my files. I'm going to create a new folder, call that components. And in my components, I'm going to create a new file. We're going to call this email login.tsx. And for this email login, let's just export. We'll create our email login component here. And for our email login component, we'll first create some state variables here. Just going to import use state. The first use state. The first state variable is for state, which we're going to set it to the 4 different states that we're going to have for signing in with embedded wallets. First is our initial state here, which will allow a user to type in their email that they want to sign in with. We have the sending email, which is going to be when we send the OTP over to the user. Then we have the email verification. This is going to be when the user has to verify the OTP that was sent to them. And if everything is good and verified, we then end up with connected here. And then the default we set is the initial state here. Next, we have a state for email. This is going to be the input field where a user can input the email that they want to sign in with. And then we also have a state variable for the verification code because, again, they're going to have to verify that OTP with us. Next, we are going to use embedded wallet from thirdweb, which will be able to utilize the connect function along with the send verification email function. So next, we'll just put here if state is equal sending email, we'll just display some text saying sending OTP email. Next, if state equals email verification, this is where the user is going to have to input their verification code or their OTP. We're going to just create some div with some styling and everything here, and we're going to have them enter their verification code. We'll have a input here where they have to input their verification code. The value is set to, again, our state variable for verification code, and on change, we're just setting the verification code to what the user has put into this input. And then we have a verify button, which we are going to create an on-click function for to handle that verification. And we'll have a go back button, which will just set the state back to the initial state. So if someone wants to go back and maybe put in a different email or something, the button will just bring them back to that previous state. And then in our default here, we are going to have, again, just some divs with some styling, a sign in here with an input where a user will put in their email. So the value of that input will be set to email. On change, we're setting the email to what the user has put in. And then we'll have a sign in button here with some styling and the user. And we're going to create a on-click function to handle the email that was entered by the user. So with that, let's create those functions that we need. The first function we need to create is the handled email entered function. So again, once a user has entered the email and clicks that submit button, first, we're going to double check to make sure that they have entered an email. If not, we'll just alert that they have to enter an email. The entered email will set the state to sending mail, which will prompt us putting up the text saying sending OTP email, which we'll then await and send the verification email to the email that the user has put in. Once that is sent, we'll set the state to email verification, which will then give us the verification input where a user has to put in that OTP that was sent to them. And then the final function that we need to create is we're going to create a handle email verification function here. Now we're going to check if we don't have an email or we don't have a verification code, we will alert, say, to enter an email or enter a verification code. Next, we're going to run a try catch. And for the catch here, we'll just console log the error. But in the try here, we are going to connect the embedded wallet that is created to a smart wallet. So coming up here, right under our use embedded wallet, we're going to, create a variable called connect smart wallet, which we're going to use the use connect hook. And then we're going to set up our new smart wallet configs here, which utilizes similar to what we did in our thirdweb provider, where we set up a smart wallet utilizing embedded wallet. We'll set the account factory address. I'm just going to put it manually in here, right over here. So use connect is a hook we can use to connect a wallet to our application. And the smart wallet configs is we're just specifying the configuration of the wallet we want to connect. So again, that smart wallet utilizing embedded wallet as the EOA wallet to it. Again, we specify factory address and we set gasless. And what we're going to do here in our handle email verification is we're going to create a personal wallet. And that personal wallet is going to be our embedded wallet that we are going to connect. So we're going to connect our embedded wallet utilizing the strategy here. We're going to use email verification. With email verification, we need to provide it the email that we are going to generate the wallet for, along with the verification code for that wallet. And that will give us and connect the personal wallet to our application. But then we need to connect that to a smart wallet. So we're going to create a variable called smart wallet here, which is going to await. And we are then going to connect our smart wallet. And with our connect to smart wallet, we're going to provide it with our smart wallet config. And then we need to set the personal wallet here. And the personal wallet is going to be our personal wallet, which is our embedded wallet that we just connected. And then the chain ID, and for this case, the chain ID for Mumbai is 80,001, but you'll put in the chain ID for whatever network or chain you deployed your contract to. Once we do that, we'll have a smart wallet connected. Now, the thing with smart wallets is you can utilize the wallet address, send the tokens to a wallet address of a smart wallet without the smart wallet actually being deployed. So a smart wallet isn't deployed until we actually execute an actual transaction with the wallet, or we deploy it manually. Now, we're going to have to deploy our smart wallet manually because when we register a username, we're going to check to make sure that the account that is registering is an account deployed through the account factory. So we won't be able to deploy our smart wallet with that first initial transaction because we won't be able to call that transaction because the wallet doesn't exist yet. So we're going to deploy the smart wallet manually here. So we're going to check if the wallet is deployed. And we're going to await smart wallet and check is deployed. And if the wallet is not deployed, we're going to await and then run smart contract deploy, which will deploy us the wallet. If it is deployed, we'll just skip the deployment here and it'll automatically connect to our smart wallet. And with that, we now have an email login component that will connect and sign in our user to a smart wallet using a email address that they provide us. So now coming back to index here, .tsx, we're going to, in our container, we're going to create a variable here. We're going to call this address, and we're going to use the use address hook from thirdweb. And this is going to get the connected wallet address for us and return us a string of that wallet address, or return undefined if a wallet isn't connected. And we can utilize that here to check if we do have an address, then we'll return our connected state of our app. And if we don't have an address, then we'll just return our email login component here. Now, once our wallet or account is connected, we're going to again display our connected component here. The thing with this is when we get the address, if we go back to our email login here and we go to our handle email verification, we're connecting a wallet twice here. So our first connection is going to be our personal wallet, which is our embedded wallet. And then our second connection is going to be our smart wallet. And what happens here is we want to make sure that our smart wallet is connected before we show our connected state, not our personal wallet. So what we want to do here is before we show our connected component, we're going to make sure, or we're going to get our wallet. So we're going to create a variable here called wallet, and we're going to use the use wallet hook here from thirdweb. And what this will do is we can then check if the wallet connected is an instance of smart wallet. And if it is an instance of smart wallet, then we will be able to show our connected component. And if it isn't an instance of smart wallet, we'll just show some text saying that it's still connecting. So in here, we will put in our connected component. Let's import our email login component here. So we'll just put that it's connected to an app here. So again, we're going to check to see if there's a wallet connected, but we're going to make sure that the wallet connected is an instance of smart wallet, because if it's our embedded wallet, we're still going to show that it's connecting here. And then once it is connected to our smart wallet, then we can display here our connected application. So I'm going to come back to our app here. Let me come back to the 3001 one, and let's sign in with our email. So we'll put in our email here. We'll hit sign in. And then here we'll verify our OTP that was sent to us. We'll hit verify. You can see here it's connecting, which means it's connected to our embedded wallet, then it connected to our smart wallet, and it is now connected to our app. And I'm just going to come back here. I'm going to add some styling here into our home module.css. If you want to see a link to the repo of this project, it'll be down in the description below. I'm just putting in some styling here so our application is laid out nicely. There we go. Now everything is centered here. So coming back to our code editor here, the next thing we need to do is create our connected component. So the first thing we need to do is actually check to make sure that a user that is signed in has a username. So we're going to come back to our files here in components. I'm going to create a new file and call this connected.tsx. And we're going to create our connected component here. And for our connected component, let's take a look at our demo application here. So let's just sign into this one again. So again, when we're connected, we're going to have display welcome to whatever the username is. We'll have a sign out button, we'll have balance, and we'll have the send funds button. And then we'll come back over here. Let's sign out. Let's sign into one that does not have a username. And if the email signing in does not have a registered username yet, we will show this card here saying username has not been registered. So those are the two card components that we're going to create here. So the first one we'll do is let's do this username not registered yet. So let's come back to our code editor here. And we're going to get our address here. So we create a variable called address. We'll use the use address hook again from thirdweb. We'll create a couple state variables. Let me just import use state here. One for the username input, so whatever username they input, and we'll set a state variable for is registering username as well. Next, we're going to get our account factory here. Actually, we're going to use this quite a bit. Let me just create a new folder here. Create a new file in our constants folder called constants.ts. And let's just export a variable here called account factory contract. And this is going to be equal to that account factory contract that we deployed. We'll save that. We'll take this account factory here. We'll import that. And let's set that up in our email login. We have it set over here. We'll import that, and then we have it set up in our app.tsx as well. And we'll import that. There you go. So in that connected state again, we're going to get our account factory contract. Then we're going to use the use contract read hook here from thirdweb, and we're going to provide our account factory contract, and we're going to use the read function called has username and supply it with the connected address or our smart wallet. So what this is going to do is call the has username, which was, if we go back to our smart contract here, has username was a mapping of our wallet to a Boolean, and this Boolean is toggled when we do register a username or not. So by default, it's false. And once a username has been registered, we switch that over to true. So coming over to so going back here, this is how we're going to check if that wallet or account that is connected has a username or not. And if they don't have a username, we're going to return and create that card where they can create a username. So we just have a couple divs here to center and style things. We have a H1 header here saying that a username was not registered and to please create a username. We have an input here with the value of username, and on change just sets the username to the input value. And then we have a button here, which if we are registering a username, will show registering username, and by default will show register username. And what we need to do here is to create a function here for that button to handle and create the username for us. So coming up here, we'll create a function called handle create username, which will be an async function. We'll check to make sure that a user has entered a username. So if there is no username input, we'll just alert saying, please enter a username. We'll run a try catch. We'll just console log the error down here for this tutorial. And then we are going to create our username. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure that the username can be registered to the account to make sure the account doesn't already have one. We'll double check. So what we're going to do is call the account of username function and put in the username input. So if I come to my contract really quick of our username account factory and I go to the Explorer tab and I go to the read function and we go to account of username and I type in a username, let's just say Watase here. If this username isn't registered, it should show us a null address like this, which is just all zeros. So we're going to make sure that when we run account of username for that username that the user puts in, that we get returned back that null address right over here. Now, if it is, then we're going to set registering username to true, and we're going to then register that username. So we'll first have to get an instance of our SDK. So we'll come right up here, we'll create a variable called here, SDK, and we'll just use the use SDK hook. And what we're going to do here is get our account contract, and we're going to await the SDK and get our contract, which is going to be our wallet address. And then on our wallet address, we're going to call the register function and register the username input. So coming back here, if we look at our accounts under our username account factory, we have this one account, which is the account that we deployed when we signed in with their email. So if I hit that contract address, which is a smart contract account here, and I go to the Explorer tab, we have a register function here. And that register function, if we come back to our username accounts contract here, is this register function here to register our username. So that's what we're going to be doing here is getting our contract, which is our smart contract wallet, and then calling the register function on that username. Then we'll alert that our username was registered, and we'll set the registering username back to false. Now, if this returns a not null address here, we're going to alert that the username already has been taken and we won't be able to register that username. So in here, once we have registered a username, I'm just going to create a div here and we're going to just display that connected to app text again. So let's come back to index here. Let's switch this out for our connected component. Then we'll come back to our app here. And you can see in our connected component now, we have not registered a username. So let's create a username to register. I'm just going to say Watase here, and I'm going to register our username. You can see here it is registering. And once it has registered, we should just see that connected to app text here in the middle. There you go. Our username has been registered. And there you go. We're connected to our app now. So the next thing we're going to do is build out this card here, which is once we're connected to the app, we say welcome, we'll display the username, we'll have a sign out button, we'll display the balance, and we'll also create this function to send funds to another username. So we'll build this out here. So one thing we're going to need to do is get the username, and we need to get the token balance of the connected wallet. So coming back to our connected.tsx here, we'll scroll on up, and under our has a username here, we're going to now check and get the username of the account. So to do that, we can, on our account factory, just use the username of account and give it our address. So that will give us, again, back the username of the account. We'll also get the native token balance of the wallet connected. And the native balance is going to be in Matic since I deployed to Mumbai. And what we're going to do is use the use balance for address hook here from thirdweb and just give it in the wallet address, and it'll give us back the native token balance, and we'll store that under a token balance variable here. And then at the very top under SDK here, we're going to create a new variable. We're going to call this the disconnect, and this will use the use disconnect function from thirdweb, which will basically disconnect a wallet or connected wallet from the application. So coming down here, we're going to create a card here some styling. We'll have welcome, and we'll display the username after welcome here. We'll have a sign out button here that is going to on click use the disconnect function from thirdweb. And then we'll have a div down here, which will show the balance, and we can get the token balance. And under that, we have a property called display value, which will give us a string value of the balance. And then we can also get the symbol, which will be grab the native symbol of whatever balance we're checking. So we'll save that. We'll come back to our app. And if we go back to 3001 here, you can see we have welcome, our username that we put in. We have the sign out button here, and you can see our balance here is zeromatic. So the next thing we need to do is create that send funds button, which will allow us to send funds. And then instead of using a wallet address, we can utilize usernames, get the wallet address from that username, and then we can initiate a transaction or transferring of funds there. So coming back to our code editor, I'm going to create a new component file, and we're going to call this one send funds.tsx. And we're going to create our component here. And then for this component, we're going to first create a button. So we're going to create a state variable here for is modal open or not. We'll just import use state again. We'll create a few more state variables here for receiver username. So an input field for us to put in the username, input field for us to put in the amount we want to send, and then we'll have a loading state here to say if we are sending funds or not. So right over here, we're going to have and say if modal is not open, we're going to have a button here that says send funds. And basically when you click that button, it will open up and set the modal to open. Let's import our styles here again. And then once our modal is open, again, we have some styling for some cards and everything here. We'll have a button in the top that says close, basically sets the modal open state to false. We'll have send here, which we will be display our token balance. So we can do that similar to how we did it in our connected state. So we'll use the use balance for address hook again, and then we just need to get our address. So we can come up here again. We'll create a variable called address and use the use address hook. So we now have the token balance. So again, we're going to put send. We'll just display what our current balance is using the display value. And then of course we can get the token balance dot symbol here. And then below that, we'll put 2. We'll have an input, which a user will then be able to put in the receiver username. And then we have another input here where the user will be able to put in the amount that they want to send. We'll set the step to 0.01. And we have our on changes to just set the value of that input. And then below that, we have a button here. If it is sending funds, we'll set the text to sending. And by default, it will be send funds. And then we just need to create our send funds function here, which will send and transfer the funds for us. So let's create that sends fund function. First thing we'll do here is under token balance, we'll get our account factory by using use contract address, by using the use contract hook. Then let's change that to account factory contract. We'll then create our function to send funds, which will be an async function here. We're going to make sure that we have a receiver username input, and we have a amount that is not equal to 0. And if not, we'll just say alert, please enter receiver name and send amount. We'll then also make sure that the send amount is less than the actual token balance that the user has. If not, we'll alert insufficient funds. Then we'll run a try catch. In the catch, again, we'll just console log error here. And what we'll do in our try here is we'll set is sending funds to true. We'll get our receiver's wallet address so we can get. So to get that, we're going to await. We're going to, on our account factory, call the account of user function. and we're going to give it the receiver username, and in return we'll get the wallet address of that username. If that wallet address though is equal to a no wallet address here, we'll just alert that the username does not exist. But if it does exist, we will await, we'll get our SDK again. So we'll get our SDK using use SDK. So await SDK wallet.transfer, and we'll put in the receiver's wallet address and the send amount that we want to send. We'll then set the receiver username back to a blank string and the send amount back to 0. And then over here, we'll set finally, and then we'll put, finally set is sending funds back to false. So with that, coming back to our app, oh, actually we forgot to add that send funds to our connected. So back in our connected.tsx, under here, we will add in our send funds component, save that, come back to our app, and we now have our send funds button. So one, I don't have any funds here. So if we try to send funds and I put in a username, or we'll just say thirdweb, and I try to send 0.01, you can say one, the username doesn't exist, first off. If I put Watase here, and I hit send funds, it doesn't give me the error. Let me see over here. Let's come back to send funds. Oh, whoops. If send amount is greater than our balance, then we put insufficient funds. Oops, wrong way. So there you can say hit send, we have more, so it says insufficient funds here. So let's actually fund this wallet here, and let's create a new account and see if we can transfer between the two. So I'm going to come back to my contract here. We're going to come, this is my user account, so I'm going to copy that contract address. I'm going to just send some funds here. We'll say 2, and then we'll put 0.05 here. So we'll send 0.05 Matic to that smart contract wallet. There you go, our transaction was successful. My wallet here, you can see right now I have 0.05 Matic. So if I hit send funds, and again, let's just put in, thirdweb here as the username, and we hit send funds, username does not exist. So what we can do here, we will come back to our other browser here to make this a little easier. We'll go to our localhost 3001. We'll sign into a new one. So I'll just add +1. We'll hit sign in. We'll get our OTP here. We'll put in and verify that OTP. Once we sign in, it should say that we don't have a username registered. There we go, no username registered. So let's register this one to thirdweb, and we'll register the username. You see here it's registering. And there you go, we have logged in, and you can see here we are now logged in with our username under here, thirdweb. We have no balance here. If we try to send funds to our other one, we can see that one, we don't have enough funds here to send, and we can close that. So let's send something over to thirdweb here. So let's copy this, come back over back to our other account here that we're signed into Watase with the balance. Let's send some funds. So again, we can send to thirdweb. We'll send the 0.02. We'll hit send funds. And there you go. You can see our funds have been sent. So we'll hit OK. So now our balance is 0.03 Matic. And if we head on over back to our other one with thirdweb, you can see here we have 0.02 Matic. We can send the funds back. So we'll just say Watase and put 0.2. We'll hit send funds. There you go. Funds have been sent. We'll hit OK. You can see our balance is back down to 0, 0. And if we come back to our Watase account one here, we are back up to 0.05 Matic. And there you have it. We were able to build a Web3 Cash App-like application where users can send and transfer funds from one wallet to another, but instead of using wallet addresses, we can use usernames tied to those wallet addresses, utilizing smart wallets and account abstraction. So again, I hope you folks enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on more tutorial videos just like this. If you have any questions or need any support, we'll drop a link down in the description. You can open up a support ticket and our support team will be happy to help you out. But again, I hope you folks enjoyed this video. You found some value in it. Until next time, see ya.